Hello, and welcome to this Israeli war assessment video. I would like to address a specific issue, and that is how Israel has been fighting the war these past 9 months. It is my opinion and my assessment that Israel could have been fighting this war a lot smarter rather than a lot harder. I believe that the frontline approach would have been the best means of dealing with the issue of Gaza. And while I recognize that the fight has been not only asymmetric, but has been largely executed on a guerrilla basis, especially for Hamas, that does not rule out the ability to use a frontline strategy far more effectively than the hopscotch and random attack patterns that we have been seeing. We know that Israel has left isolated neighborhoods which have not been bombed or attacked, and Hamas has retreated to these and they have based themselves out of them and have now used them to attack Israeli troops. It may have been the best to deal with the north first, slowly spreading out and developing a front line. The Gaza Strip at its maximum width is only 7 miles. And so, in placing a front line would have been a very feasible method of moving through the cities. One of the key benefits of using a frontline strategy is that Israel could have slowly but surely developed their understanding of the tunnel system, blocked off and capped with concrete the tunnel exits that were on the surface after they had been able to penetrate down to very specific and very deep layers of the tunnels and sealed them off at critical junctures, slowly but surely. So if you cap them off on the surface, after you have maybe built up a concrete wall within the tunnel itself, this would have ensured that Hamas would have had an extreme limit on how much they would be able to move fighters through, especially by walling off key junctures in order to ensure that they would have a much harder time of moving men and material. This would have also offered Israel the ability to address every single neighborhood at the same time and in the same method, allowing it to secure areas in the rear and to be able to build up an effective unidirectional supply chain communications channel through which they could rotate troops, supply food, medicine, and other necessities to the troops, and continue to pound these positions. So, in a lot of ways, the frontline strategy is very effective, even in a guerrilla fight, because it also ensures that there are not areas that can provide aid and comfort to the guerrillas in that region. This would still likely have involved the displacement of Palestinians. We would have seen the Gazans being pushed south a little bit more slowly, a little bit more pressured, perhaps giving much more opportunity for aid and other items to come into their hands. I also believe that Israel could have created civilian corridors through the lines in which they would have been able to vet and verify individuals, take them through scanners, take them through some type of pat down process in order to take off of them any weapons, any guns, anything that could be potentially used against Israeli soldiers, and then shifted towards developed makeshift camps in the rear. And these could have also been used to facilitate, so we have civilian camps in areas that have then been declared green or secure, and aid could be very firmly and very consistently delivered to those Palestinians to ensure humanitarian responses were able to keep up with the need. And again, these could have been facilitated through civilian corridors through which they could have surrendered and given aid and any comfort that was appropriate to their needs. This would have also ensured that Israel was able to deal with the international fallout from this process and ensure that the campaign would have succeeded and succeeded a lot faster and a lot more thoroughly. One thing which I have noted repeatedly is how many times an area that was bypassed or an area that was declared secured has then suddenly become a new hotbed. And I do believe that the frontline strategy would have eliminated these rearward hotbeds. It would have also ensured a good location, a better location for the floating pier, perhaps. Uh, Again, civilian camp areas that were declared secure. But it would also have allowed the situation in Rafah to be dealt with more easily. So you have fewer people to deal with, you have fewer potentials for civilian casualties, and you have the ability to continue to press Hamas up against a wall, quite literally, and contain them in the rear, continuing the process of bottling the tunnel exits as well as going inside the tunnels and filling up the corridors. As well, that would also have facilitated the rescue of more hostages and ensuring that there was a much more systematic and less hopscotch means of finding uh, the hostages. That would have ensured that there was a systematic search, a clearance process. We know these tunnels are no longer occupied. We know that they have been cleaned of arms and munitions, and so it is time to seal it up. So this is a much shorter video, but I do believe that it would have been a more effective strategy. I don't know if it would have shortened the war any. I do believe that we would still be at 9 months even in that process. So I'm not making an argument that it would make it shorter. Please understand that. But I do think it would have been wiser, and I think it would have been much more effective towards neutralizing threats in the rear and sustaining those gains and securing the peace in the rear so that Israel did not have to constantly deal with rearward distractions. Thank you.